think that we need to really flip it on its head and stop trying to be designers. You know, the templates and tools are there for a reason, and they're getting better and better. So pro designers are doing all the hard work for us. They're creating these amazing templates, and then we're coming along and, to use an Australian term, we're stuffing them up. So it's really about starting with less is more. Don't design from scratch. In fact, if you're not skilled in any way, and you can admit that to yourself, really focus on using templates to start with. The second thing is to stick to the templates, or stick to the elements of the template. So, you know, when you're starting to edit a template, and one little hack is to use your brand, you know, in these tools that you might be able to bring in your colors and your logos and fonts and things, but don't sort of change everything at once, you know, stick to the main elements. So you might only change one or two things at a time. So you might change the colors and the text, or you might change the font to another similar type of font and change the images. But if you start moving all the borders and the structural elements and everything from the design around, you're going to make it look like a bit of a dog's breakfast. So
never heard that before.
Yeah. I think that's an Australian and English term. Do you guys use that term?
I've never heard that before, but I think it's really cool. I get it.
Everyone from Netflix to your grandma is now shooting videos and sharing them with the wider world. And social media platforms are pioneering this video-first content approach. The larger the brand's follower base, the more video content they post.
As Jack Kornfield once said, when we get too caught up in the busyness of the world, we lose connection with one another, and ourselves. Listen to the full episode on popular podcast platforms.
And that is like, I think that is being undaunted. It's like stuff's going to happen along the way. Like you're going to have you're going to be rolling along, everything's great. And then all of a sudden, pandemic, right? Like, and then all of a sudden you're like,
you're like move and dodge. Yep.
Yeah. And I think like that's the thing that, you know, there's stuff you can do about it and there's stuff that you can't control. And I think it's really about, you know, just keep moving forward the best you can and don't have like giant goals. You can always have giant goals, but I think like take it easy and like take small, like recognize those wins. And, you know, I think that has really helped me along the way as well, that whenever there's really down days and hard stuff that matters, like even thinking back onto to those emails or those phone calls from consumers when people felt the need to like come back and share with me, you know, like keep those in your brain because they'll help you to move forward.
On today's episode of the Social Media Strategies Podcast, we'll talk about data analytics tools with Tyson Amico and Freddie Teeters. Available now on our website and all podcast platforms.
Don't use emails as a chat. If you have more than 5 emails in a conversation, it's time to relocate the discussion to some other place. Create a chat, make a call, set up a meeting, and then describe the results of the discussion in the email.
Executive consulting. I talk to CEOs. I'm like, what do you think of a sales funnel? And they're like, I love my sales funnel. I'm like, yeah, but you like being in one. They're like, no. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's call your front desk. And they're like, excuse me? I'm like, here's the phone. Dial your front desk, get a salesperson. Right? They refuse to do it. They're like, I don't think we need to go through this part of the exercise. I'm like, we definitely need to go through this part of the exercise. Call them. Right? They're paying me $10,000 a day, so they call them, and it's a nightmare, right? If you have a phone tree and it doesn't respond. If you don't have a bot on your website for a transaction kind of thing, right, you're a little bit behind, because that's what we want. And if you're not embracing the inbound revolution, the HubSpot flywheel, right, the ancillary to that is every company's a tech company, right? Don't tell me I'm a nonprofit, we haven't invested in tech, because that's wrong, right? What you need to do, every company is a tech company, just like every business is a people business.
So if you want to promote your podcast with video on other platforms like LinkedIn, for example, and drive traffic from LinkedIn to your podcast, that's something that you could easily do for every episode, and it will take like a couple of minutes when you know what you want to convey in your video.
Right. So then you could set up a template the way that you want and then use it over and over. And I've seen that done. I didn't realize it was your software doing it, but a link to Wave.video in the show notes.
This has been Digital Marketing Masters with Matt and Carrie Rouse.
Social media will always be in flux. This is the inherent obstacle. The rules frequently change. New platforms rise. The newsfeed algorithm gets revised again. Social networks come and go. It's impossible and ill-advised to stretch yourself across all of them. The sudden growth of visual social networks like Instagram launched a new generation of influencers who are distinct from their blogger, YouTuber, or even Twitter predecessors. Influencers can cover the increasingly difficult visual ground for you much better than you can yourself, while sidestepping the problems of mastering new and rising platforms, or worrying about a platform's longevity. Harnessing true people power, and that is what the voices of influencers are, requires a different approach to how you've traditionally spread your brand's message. Influencer marketing is a shift in communicating and interacting with your customers and audience.
That's the way you see the big picture, and what that really takes is planning up front. Separate from planning the video itself, it's where's the video going to live, what other pieces of content can be tied to that video, and then before I even shoot, I have a creative brief that I request everybody fill out, and in that creative brief there's a couple things. What are the cell lines for that video? So that would be the title of the video, right? What are the cell lines for the video, and what are the CTAs for the video? Because I need to know before I create the video what we're trying to get our customers to do when they get to the end of it.
Oh, yeah, be on the lookout.